Saturday morning at the National Concert Band Festival put on by Music for All. They'll join 14 other high school bands and a few other honor groups that we'll get to attend and listen to throughout the weekend. And they'll be judged, adjudicated, have clinics, rehearsals with some of the best music educators in the entire world. So it'll be a really great week, educational experience, really great performance for these guys. Really quick about the program. Ecstatic Fanfare, the first tune, is actually a segment from a much larger electronic piece with wind band by Stephen Bryant called Ecstatic Waters. So went out and performed that 2 years ago. And he took kind of the middle section of the first movement and kind of added stuff at the beginning of it and the end of it and created Ecstatic Fanfare. So if you guys heard Ecstatic Waters a few years ago, you'll recognize Ecstatic Fanfare. The second tune, Nimrod, is from a larger piece called Enigma Variations, and there's about 15 variations that Elgar wrote, and each variation represents someone that he knew, either their personality or an experience that he had. And the particular movement that we're playing, which is called Nimrod, represents kind of an experience and a conversation that he had with a really good friend that was also in music, and they were actually talking about Beethoven's Pathétique, which we're pretty familiar with. So he doesn't quote Pathétique, but he does reference it throughout the tune. And the third movement, the third piece that we're doing is actually the third movement of a clarinet concerto by Frank Ticheli, which we learned just last week that his real name is Ticheli, but he changed it to Ticheli. It's called Ristorlini, and each movement of the work actually represents a different composer, musician, one being Gershwin, the other one being Copland. Ristorlini represents kind of the character and the music and the personality of Leonard Bernstein. So if you guys have heard West Side Story and you recognize that music, you kind of hear some things that kind of sound like West Side Story, but also the piece kind of represents Leonard Bernstein's personality. He's a great conductor, a great musician, and a great composer. Look him up, YouTube, Leonard Bernstein. The fourth piece that we're doing is called Mothership. It's wind band with electronic, and you're going to hear four different soloists. We'll start with, you guys will hear an electric guitar solo, followed by a bassoon solo, and then a vibe solo, and then a trumpet solo. And kind of they represent kind of these satellite spacecraft in orbit or around this mothership, and they're signaling to the mothership to come on board to solo. Kind of weird, but that's what it represents. And then finally, Gumsucker's March, which is a Granger tune. Most people think Granger's an American composer or a British composer, but actually Australian. And a gumsucker is actually a young male Australian. They take part of the eucalyptus tree and they chew on it. Hence the word gumsucker. So it's a Gumsucker's March and represents kind of young men of Australia. So again, this is the Harrison Wind Ensemble on stage, and we hope you enjoy the performance. Thank you. Thank you.